Welcome guys. Today I'm going to be talking a bit about the new Elemental Well mods and what I think is a potentially deadly perfect loadout for using them. So first let's go over what each mod does. So there are 6 current Elemental Well mods, but one of them is a Charge of Light mod. And obviously there's only 5 armor anyway, so I'm pretty much counting that one out. But we've got the Elemental Light, which means defeating a combatant with your super spawns an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type. Okay. Then we've got Elemental Ordnance, where defeating a combatant with a grenade spawns an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type. We've got Elemental Armaments, where weapon takedowns with a damage type that matches your subclass elements have an escalating chance to spawn an Elemental Well. We have Fonts of Might, where picking up an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type grants a temporary bonus to weapon damage of that same elemental type. And finally, Font of Wisdom, where picking up an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type grants you a temporary significant increase in your intellect, improving the recharge rates of your super. Right, so for this build I decided on either using the Heart of Inmost Light or the Doomfang Pauldrons, because we will be using grenades a lot, and melees as well. So the Heart of Inmost Light, you use one ability to briefly improve your other abilities by empowering them pretty much. But Doomfang Pauldrons mean that void melee kills give super energy, and while Sentinel Shield is active, melee kills recharge shields throw, which extends your super on hits. The only thing about Doomfang Pauldrons, I don't know if they'll work with Code of the Commander or not, because they all have Sentinel shields. I mean, I guess all of them are Sentinel shields classes, but who knows. And now onto the weapons. So because we're using a Void subclass, and pretty much the requirements are just to have the same subclass energy type for the mods to work properly, so I went with the Deafening Whisper with Wellspring. As long as it has Wellspring it should be fine, but obviously the god roll is Ambitious Assassin as well as Wellspring, so that you can get those extra shots and those extra kills easily. Then I went with the Crowd Pleaser because it's the first Void weapon that has chain reaction that I could think of. It might literally be the only one, but because pretty much the entire build is going to be centered around chain reactions, not just from this perk but in general thanks to the super subclass, I thought this would be a good choice. And I also chose Monte Carlo so that we can get the melee back on kills. So pretty much the theory behind this build is that thanks to all of the mods, you can pretty much get, so firstly, instead of looking at the small description, you have to look at the big description first, and that's that picking up a well grants energy ability to your lowest current energy. But also picking up an Elemental Well whose elements matches your subclass damage type grants energy to all of your abilities. But obviously, if two of your abilities are full, it's going to go, I think, at an increased rate to a single one, so that instead of having an equal amount across 3, it takes those 3 amounts and adds them up. But I'm not sure if it does all 3 or if it's just the same amount no matter how many abilities you have. It gives the same to each ability even if they're full, so if they're full it just wouldn't give any to them. And that's the most important part of this build. And grenades with Kodo the Commander, they are very powerful because of void detonators, right? So when your melee ability is fully charged, or if you hit them with a grenade, it attaches a void detonator. And when the detonator explodes, it deals damage to surrounding targets. But also when the void detonators explode, you gain grenade and melee energy, as well as your allies. And I'm pretty sure the void detonator also spreads out a bit, as in like it spreads to other enemies as well. So what you would ideally do is you would hit an ad with the melee ability, and it would have a void detonator attached. Then you would probably do a grenade, so that the grenade explodes, as well as the void detonator, either spreading the detonator to surrounding targets, or if it doesn't do that, just having a bigger explosion in general, because it's kind of two explosions really. And the magnetic grenades, they explode twice as well. So then you use your grenade, and the enemy drops an elemental well when you get a kill with a grenade, which is why I would suggest using the grenade to actually kill the enemy. So you'd get an elemental well, which then in turn would give you an increase in intellect. I don't know how much it is exactly, but it does increase it by a lot. It also gives you ability energy, and with the new mods, I think it's this one. No, it's this one. Picking up an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type grants a temporary bonus to weapon damage. So you get bonus damage to weapons of the same damage type. So what you could do is kill an ad with a grenade, pick up the well, start gaining faster super, get like half of your grenade back. Well, it's not half, it's quite a bit, and I think it increases regen as well. And then you'd have increased damage to void. So then you could use this, and the damage increase lasts for about 4 seconds, I think. So it's enough time to get some of these rounds off, or even some of these to kill more ads, and to trigger Wellspring to get more grenade energy back. You would also use your barricade, for example, to buff the grenade as well, meaning that it does more damage, and it has faster regen as well. So while it's empowered, which I think lasts like 10 seconds or something, might be 15, but I think it's 10. While empowered is going on, not only are you gaining energy from Heart of Inmost Light, but you're also gaining energy from Wellspring if you're using it, and also gaining super at the same time from Font of Wisdom. And pretty much it means that you will have a grenade back very fast. And then you can pretty much loop this, but you might be thinking, right, so I already used my melee. Well, that's what Monte Carlo's for. You kill some things with Monte Carlo until you get your melee back. Then you have a melee and a grenade, so then you can spread more void detonators around, giving yourself more grenade energy for every void detonator that goes off, and also killing things because of the void detonators. Chain reaction is good on the crowd pleaser because obviously it's chain reaction. It allows you to get more kills if you're shooting against ads. I tested this build on the Europa Lost Sector bunker E15, I think. Might not be that one. It's the one with the Vex, pretty much. I tested it without actually utilising Heart of Inmost Light's exotic perk. I didn't actually get the buff at all. I didn't put out a single barricade, and it was still really good. In terms of using the Doomfang pauldrons instead, I think it should be pretty good as well, but it would be more of a like super focus build instead of a grenade focus build. So it would be especially good if the void detonators placed by melee, if like you killed an enemy who you'd put a void detonator on, and the void detonator killed some ads, for example, if those counted as melee kills, that would be super good as well, but it might not. I haven't tested that yet. And as well, for Heart of Inmost Light, you'd want a max resilience build. These aren't my normal pieces of armor, but I didn't. The ones that I did have were from a few seasons ago, so they couldn't equip the mods, which is a shame. But if you ran 100 resilience, you could have barricade every 15 seconds, meaning you'd be able to activate Heart of Inmost Lights like a lot, pretty much, and you'd also be getting barricade energy from the elemental well mods anyway, so you'd be getting it back even faster. And pretty much I think it's just a very good combo. The crowd pleaser isn't necessary. Use what you want, as long as it's void. Well, it doesn't even have to be void. Wellspring on this is important, and it would probably work, not quite as well, but still work with any other subclass. If you like didn't have Forsaken, for example. But overall, I think this is a very strong build. It was very fun to use while I tested it. It was pretty powerful, even though I didn't take like full advantage of it. But yeah, it would probably be good to have someone on the fire team running as Arc and someone running as Solar. But I haven't thought about the loadouts for them yet. I don't think they'd have as much like compatibility with, or harmony. I don't know what the right word is, but like this just all fits together so well that I don't think there would be a combination that the other subclasses could have, but maybe there is. I need to have a bit of a think about it. And even if you didn't use Heart of Inmost Light, if you used maybe even Armamentarium, you could use pretty much anything. Even if you didn't, you could like even not use a exotic armor piece, and it would still be pretty good. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I'll be making videos for the other subclasses, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good day.